60 years ago today, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act into law. It was enacted to remove the barriers of racist policies. The Voting Rights Act affirmed the right to vote for millions of African Americans. Enforcement of this law has expanded political opportunities for Black Americans and other people of color. But in recent years, pushback against equality and attacks on voting rights has intensified. Joining us now is President and CEO of the NAACP. Good morning, Derrick Johnson. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Now, as we mark the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, can you reflect on the importance of this legislation and what it meant for Black Americans when it was first signed into law?
Well, the Voting Rights Act is perhaps the most important piece of legislation during the civil rights era. It ensured the guarantees of the Constitution that the right to vote will be afforded to all citizens, particularly African Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, all across the country, and that we could fully participate as citizens in the formation of public policy.
And what do you think people today often overlook about the fight that led to its passage?
You know, the struggle for individuals who were citizens of this country to be fully recognized is something that had fight for decades. You think about blacks in the South, where many individuals sought to exploit them for cheap or free labor. Asian community in San Francisco area, where they were utilized for their labor and their expertise, but not provided a voice. The Latino community and farms across the country. And so the Voting Rights Act was something that many Americans who are of African descent fought hard for, because the paramount right of all rights is that right to vote, so we can be a part of this great nation and the democracy that's been promised to all of us.
And the Voting Rights Act was enacted to dismantle deeply entrenched barriers like literacy tests and voter intimidation. But in some areas, we see new versions of the same obstacles. So how have voter suppression tactics evolved in today's America, especially in communities of color?
Well, we're witnessing right now, right now in Texas, what they're doing in this mid-cycle redistricting process. They're targeting districts that's made up of African Americans, Latinos, and the Asian community in Texas to cheat midterm in order to predefine the outcome of the 2026 midterm election. It's not about partisanship. It is about suffocating the votes, the voices, and the ability of communities to select candidates of their choice.
And what would it take to renew and expand the protections of the Voting Rights Act today? And what do you want lawmakers and everyday citizens to understand about what's truly at stake?
Well, what's at stake now is whether or not on the global stage, are we going to be the democracy we tout to be, or we're going to be something less than that? We need to reauthorize the Voting Rights Act. We need to ensure that Section 4 and 5 of the Voting Rights are in place so that local actors and state actors are not able to predetermine the outcome of the election by suppressing votes of communities. We need to also fight to ensure that the right to vote is something that's afforded to all citizens and not only a select few.
President and CEO of the NAACP, Derrick Johnson, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.